Hello, my name is Doug Leisure, and today I wanted to record this video to show you the concepts that you can use for extending the capability of my donation software. Specifically, we are looking at creating drop-down lists to make it easier for you to enter your special donations. Also, for you to provide a list of items to use in your expenses category and subcategories. So first thing, I do want to let you know that what I'll be showing you today is using some new Excel functions, the filter, unique, choose column, sort, and Xlookup. These are new cell formulas, functions that are available in Office 365 and also in Office 2021 and beyond. So you need to make sure you have that version. I'm going to show you how this concept of creating these drop-down lists, how they work, so you can understand the reason for wanting to do it. But then afterwards, I'll go through the steps of showing you how to create these drop-down lists. One thing you do need to know is that I have created a Word document that shows the setup of these drop-down lists, as well as providing you the cell formulas, the cell functions that you'll need. So I'll stick my email address in the video description. So if you like what you're seeing and you want a copy of my Word document so you can create this yourself, then you could just send me an email and request my Word document giving you the instructions for creating these drop-down lists. Okay, so let's start with the drop-down list for entering the special offerings. And so what you need to understand is this is built on our collection of donation data. So on the annual tab we have all of our donations, and when we're doing a special offering, those things appear here in column J. So the idea is that this data will be continuing to grow over time, and as we add new items, we want those to automatically appear in our drop-down list. And so it'll be a dynamic drop-down list, meaning as things are added, they will automatically show up with you having to do anything to maintain the list. So it's a great concept. Let me show you what that looks like here. Over on the Entry tab, in the column for the name of the special, we've applied a drop-down list. So when you click here, we see the three items available to us: missionary speaker, VBS for Vacation Bible School, and visiting pastor. So the idea is that we can choose these, or if we add new ones over time, we want those to automatically appear and be included in the list. So let me just show you real quick what that would look like. So let's say we're doing a donation on November 3rd, and in November, we often take a collection for Operation Christmas Child. So let's say we get a donation of $20 for that, and we come over here and there is no Operation Christmas Child, but we can enter it here so that next time and beyond today, it's available in our drop-down list. So let me just show you what that would look like. So let's go ahead and just complete. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so on the drop-down list, we're using the data validation to accomplish that. And one of the options is to show an error alert after invalid data is entered, meaning it's not on the list. So we need to get rid of that option. And I believe we want to get rid of the ignore blank. So let's make that subtle change. And now we should be able to enter the new item. without error. Yes, okay. So we'll make sure we include that in the instructions. Okay, so so we are allowed to either select from the current items or enter additional items here. Now, what I wanted to show you just real quick then is as we complete our data entry for that donation, then that information will be added to our list of data, and following weeks it will be available as items to select as well. So just real quick, if we come here to the annual tab, in our column Z, we now have an additional item, Operation Christmas Child, or OCC, the abbreviation for that. Coming back here, so in subsequent weeks, when we go to our drop down, OCC is automatically added there as an option. So the list of items is dynamic. As you add things in following weeks, they're just automatically added to the drop down list. Okay, so this idea of the dynamic drop down list that we use then for the special items. So that's one of the things. I'll go in just a few minutes and go through the steps of setting that up so you can understand how to create that. But that functionally, that's what it's going to do. The other thing we're going to talk about is often referred to as cascading drop downs. So what that means is in our expenses, we have the idea of entering categories and subcategories. So two items. So when I choose a category, I want to have a list of subcategories that match the category we've selected. So in a simple sense, if I have fruit, vegetables, and flowers, if I choose fruit, I only want to see apples and oranges. If I choose flowers as my category, then my choices for subcategory should be daisy and rose. So that's kind of the idea, and kind of coming back here to show you what that would look like. If I choose fruit, then the drop down for my subcategory, apples and oranges. If I choose flowers, then my subcategory is daisy and rose. So this is often referred to as cascading drop-down lists. Whatever you choose here affects or changes what shows up there. Okay, so that's the idea. So I wanted to kind of show you the concept. Now let's go through the steps of creating these things. So we're going to circle back to the entry first, and okay, let's go back to the entry, which is where we want to create the drop-down list then for the name of specials. Okay, so let's take a look at how we're going to create this. Again, I have a Word document with all the steps in here and the instructions, so just send me an email and I'll be happy to share that Word document with you. So we are building it from the data showing up here in the Annual tab. First thing we want to do is we want to create a brand new worksheet tab here, and this is where we can create our list of drop-down items. So we're just creating a new tab, naming it drop-down. So the first thing is we want to create here in the first column a list of those items from our column our column Z here. We want to create a list of these. If I just create a list, then it's going to, if I just point it here, I'm going to have all of these items repeating themselves. So what I really desire out of this is a list of only the unique items, and so that's the function that we'll build, and then we'll build upon it to actually help even further whittle it down to just the items that we want. So let me start on the drop down, and so what we'll do is we'll create here in cell A1 a function. Now there's one in there from my examples here. Let's back up a little bit, and I'm going to kind of show you conceptually what's going on here. If we start with the simplest formula, which is just the unique function. And again, this is unique is one of those newer functions. If we create that, what it's going to do then is it's going to dynamically, automatically create a list of all of the unique items in column Z from the annual tab. So this is a great start, just doing this, and you may have situations with your data outside of my donation software where you can take advantage of this particular functionality. It's again really simple to use, and please dig into it further, understand how this works. It's a great function. Now the problem we run into is it's not it will be dynamic as things are added to it. However, it does also show up the value 0 for all of those rows that have nothing in it. Okay, so it's a good start, but it's not everything. The other interesting thing, going back to the annual tab, not only are we getting all of the blank items, but we're also getting this name of special, which is basically just the column header for the stuff in column Z, right? This is the if you think of it from a data perspective, this is the column or the field name, and that's not really one of the items we would want to select. So we have to eliminate that, as well as eliminating the items that are blank. Now the way we're going to do that is basically anything that's not 0, that's where we have in the dollar amount here, the special column Y. Anytime Y is not 0, that's where we have an item that we've put in that we want to show up on the list, meaning we've applied a special offering, so a dollar amount and a name, and that's the combination of things we want to use when we're searching down through all of the data. Apply those to our drop-down list. So let's take a look at what we have here. So unique just by itself is pretty neat. You could also throw the sort command around it. Sort by column 1. And that's just a pretty neat thing to put it in alphabetical order. But we're gonna combine that with some other things to give us a more specific list that we're looking for. So let's take this other formula, and let's kind of build our way on that. Okay, so let's take a look at it. I'll explain it, and then you'll see how that works. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the new filter command, and what the filter does is it looks down through one or more columns. So in this case, it'll be column column Y and Z, and from there we want it to find or to filter. So that's what the idea is: find the things where the items in column Z are not the column or the field title. So eliminate those, and then also find the data where column Y, that's where we put the dollars in, where those are not 0. So again, back up here. So looking down through column Y and Z, first of all, eliminate any rows that have the word name of special. So if it equals that, don't include it, right? We're filtering that out. And then second thing is looking in column Y, where column Y is not 0, find those items. So that's the idea of the filter part of this function. Then the other thing we do is use the new choose columns to say, hey, I know you returned 2 columns. We just want you to return just 1 column, the second column, out of the list, because the filter is looking at column Y and Z, but we want it to return only the second column. Then from that list, we make it unique. From the unique list, we sort it in alphabetical order, and that's what gives us the short and correct drop-down list of those items that match what we're looking for. The only other thing you might want to consider is this will be data then across multiple years, right? So our column here where we put our historical data, this will have data in it for 2024, 2025, 2026, and beyond. So if you want to make it a little more dynamic so that your list is only the items in the current year, if you remember correctly, we have a parameter here that tells us what our current year is for displaying our reports. And so therefore we would want to use the same year in that filter. Okay, so if we do that, what we have is, in addition to the things we were looking at before, we're going to also find where the year is equal to our selected or our current year, and that's just coming from column AB, right? So where the year is 2024, that's where we want to look over that data. So it's just a simple way to add one more piece of functionality to this list. All right. Okay. Hopefully that explains the idea of creating the list. And again, this list will be dynamic, and it will maintain itself over time. The other thing we need to do then is to apply the drop down. And so we go to our cell AD where we put in the name, and you'll be using data. You'll be using data validation, and the option is the data validation. And so what it's going to do is it's going to ask us what do you want the list, what is the criteria that you're allowing. And so we're going to say it's going to be a list, and it'll be in cell dropdown. What is the source of our list? Well, it will be column A from our drop-down tab. And remember, we also turned off the error alert. Okay, and so column A is our drop-down list. Now, I've chosen the entire column A because this list is going to grow over time. I didn't want to make it just A1 through A4, which means that I have to go back and I'd have to manually maintain it as new items are added. I'm trying to get away from having to maintain this ourselves. We want the software to maintain it for us. So we're just being a little more generic to say that the drop-down list is anything showing up in column A. All right. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good idea of the design of this dynamic drop-down list. And then once you've applied it to the first cell, then of course you'd want to copy it to all the other cells. And let's just validate by going to one of the other rows that we are still getting the correct drop-down list. Okay. All right, so that is the dynamic drop-down that we use then for the name of the specials. Let's take a look at creating a cascading drop-down list that we would use then in the expenses. So as we're doing our donation, as we're doing our expense items, we will want to select first of all the category, followed by a subcategory that should be dependent on or cascading from the items we put in here. So let me get rid of the things I was playing with earlier, fruit, vegetables, flowers, and let's put in something a little more reasonable. So let's go to utilities, office supplies, and salaries. These would be appropriate then for what we're really doing here. So utilities, if I select utilities, electric and water are the options. If I'm doing office supplies, paper and toner would be good items then for office supplies. And then if I choose salaries, I have the pastor's salary, the secretary's salary. So these are the things. And if we just confirm over here, if I choose office supplies, then my second drop down for my subcategory is limited to the things in office supplies, toner, paper, and toners. So this is working correctly. Okay, so how does this work? So this one is going to be a little bit different in the sense that we need to first of all define a list that will be our category list. And so it will be the utilities, the office supply, and the salaries. And I know already over time you will want to be adding additional categories as you move forward. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a named range, and the named range is going to be the word lookup category, and it's going to be C1, D1, E1, and we're going to include this blank column F. Why are we including a blank one? It's so that later on I can insert additional columns, and my named range then would automatically include the new items that I've included. So C1 through F1, and we'll name that lookup category. Okay, so now that we have a lookup category, we can come back here to our category and create the data validation. The data validation will be a list again, just like we saw before. The difference is our source is going to be the named range lookup category. Okay, and as I mentioned, the reason we're using the named ranges is so again this once we define this and set it up, it will automatically grow as we add additional categories. So let's just take a quick look. Utilities, office supplies, salaries, that's what we have so far. Let's say we wanted to add another category for Christian education, and under there we'll have an item for Sunday school curriculum, right? So those are the things we want to add. So let's go ahead and let's do an insert here. So we have an additional column, and let's just add those items there. Okay, so insert a column, put the new items in there, and if we take a look at it, our categories now include Christian education. Okay, so by using the named range, the lookup becomes dynamic as we add things. As we add columns here or new categories, they are automatically included in our drop-down. Okay, second part, how do we create then the cascading lookup or drop-down list? So what we're going to do here on this one is we're going to create one more named range. This time we're going to so the named range that we're going to create will be the second row, so that beginning with the items that should show up as our subcategory. So we're going to select those, including a blank row, all of the items we have so far, including the blank row and including the blank column. So by having the extra column, the extra row, that's what makes this a dynamic list. As you insert rows or columns, they will be automatically included. So C2 through G4 will be our named range for then the lookup subcategory. Okay, once we have the named range, we come back here to our expenses, and we're going to create the drop down for the subcategory. And again, that's data, and then the data validation. Okay, so it's a list. Now here's where things become a little bit different. we don't want to use the full list. The named range has the complete list. What we need to do is to make it dependent on what you selected in the category. Okay, so we're going to be using the Xlookup function. And let's see if so the Xlookup function here, I have an example of it down here. Xlookup, so we're looking up whatever you selected as the category in column, or in cell C11. From there, we are using that as a lookup in this named range. Our lookup named range: utilities, office supplies, Christian education, salaries. Okay, so look up whatever you have here in the list lookup category, that's C1 through G1, and return from there the column that matches it. So if I select if I select Christian education, then I'm returning the items in the third column. Okay, so again, back here, the Xlookup function. What you've selected in the category is used then as a lookup in the category lookup, and that returns a column number that is then used to return data out of our subcategory list. So if I choose office supply, it returns the second column of data, paper, toner, and it also includes the blank row. Okay, so that is what we're using then in the drop-down list that we created using data validation, right? So it's at Xlookup C11, using that as a lookup into the lookup category named range, returning from lookup subcategory named range the matching column. Okay, so it's pretty simple to set all of this up, and it does become then dynamic. Let me kind of show you what that would look like. So we previously we added a column. Let's go ahead and do a similar thing where we add a row. So for our utilities, we currently have electric and water. Let's say we wanted to add gas as another utility. So you just come here. Okay, so I'm inserting basically above the blank row. So do your insert, add your item here. Okay. Now what's kind of nice about the way I designed this is because this is a dynamic list, it was not impacted by my inserting a row or multiple rows here, because this thing will always display the data beginning in A1 down through the end of the list. So it's not impacted by inserting rows. Okay, and if we just take a quick look at it and we choose utilities then for our category, come over to subcategory, now gas is automatically included as an additional item in the drop-down list. 3 items here. Office supplies only had 2 items, so our drop-down list only has 2 items. And similarly, our Christian education only has 1 item. Come over here, we select it, there's really only one item there. Okay. So that is the functionality that I wanted to show you, and to kind of show you how to set things up. Again, probably the best way to do this, if you want to incorporate this, is to go ahead and ask for a copy of that Word document I put together that will help you out to create it and to have the cell formulas all ready for you to just kind of copy and paste them. And I can't stress enough, if you want to do this, it does require the new cell formulas or functions. So make sure you're running Office 365 or Office 2021 and beyond. And what we're using the new functions for that cascading drop down, that's using the Xlookup. For the dynamic list, we're using filter, unique, choose columns, and sort. All right. Hopefully this video has been helpful for you, and I will look forward to making additional videos in the future. Thank you.